you can see him shaping that glass into a nice even shape. Then he'll blow into the pipe, and he'll trap the air inside the pipe with his thumb over the opening. Now that air is trapped in contact with that hot glass, which will heat it up, causing it to expand. As the air expands, it'll force a bubble out of the pipe into the middle of that glass. There it goes right there. Looks kind of like a reflective surface right in the center. And now that Jeremiah's created that bubble inside the glass, he's going to let this glass cool down to a relatively frosty 1,000 degrees. It's still pretty hot, I know. But at 1,000 degrees, that glass will solidify. Once his bubble solidifies, we're going to take this molten colored glass that I'm preparing and drip it right onto the surface of that bubble. Then we'll smooth this glass out over the surface of that bubble, entirely encasing it with this colored glass. This is a process that we refer to as the color overlay. Now at this point, I've gotten this glass nice and hot, so I'm going to briefly shape it into the proper shape for this overlay process. As I come out of that furnace, you might see this colored glass appears to be bright red, but it's not actually red glass. This glass is actually black in color. But no matter what color our glass really is, when it's 2,000 degrees, the color is obscured by this reddish glow. Now as the glass cools down, that glow will fade and the original color will become visible again, but you may not be able to see it at all points in this process. Alright, I've gotten this color overlay into the proper shape. Now I just need to liquefy it one more time, then I'll present it to Jeremiah where he'll grab my pipe with these glass blowing shears and guide it as we add this color onto his bubble. You can see him grabbing my pipe and dripping that color right onto his vessel. Now, Jeremiah wants to smooth that colored glass out over the surface of his piece. In order to do that, he's going to get just a little bit more heat into it right there. But he's got to make sure that he doesn't heat it up too much. He doesn't want that clear glass to move underneath the color. He just wants the color to move on the surface of the clear. Once he gets that nice and hot, he'll bring it back over to this marker table, where he's going to roll across the table, pushing forward as he rolls. As he pushes forward, he squeezes that glass back over the entire surface of that bubble. Glass out. There's still a little bit of a gap in between the pipe and that color, so he'll keep pushing it back until he's covered all of that clear. Alright, now we're at the appropriate temperature, so Jeremiah's going to go ahead and dip back into this crucible furnace. He'll turn through that melt and he'll come out of there with his next layer, or gather of molten clear. And then he's going to take a trip over there to that pipe cooling device. Now as we press that metal pipe on the 2,000 degree sill of the furnace, heat from the furnace tends to soak into the metal. So he'll go over there and just run some room temperature water over it, ensuring that it's at a safe temperature that he can handle with his bare hands. Then he'll work on evenly distributing this new layer of glass using one of these wooden tools. Now these tools are called blocks, and they're basically carved out cherry wood scoops that we keep soaking in buckets of water. Now as Jeremiah touches this waterlogged wood to that 2,000 degree glass, the water in the wood vaporizes, creating a layer of steam. And it's that steam that actually shapes the glass as he uses that tool. That layer of steam prevents the hot glass from sitting in contact with the wood and burning up that tool in a matter of minutes. Now, as Jeremiah is shaping that glass with the block once again, you may have seen me providing some air pressure by blowing into that pipe. We call this a controlled expansion. It's one of the most useful things an assistant can do in a hot shop. Nothing heats up that pipe like going into that 2,000 degree furnace. Imagine that. Now, of course, all that hot glass, that's also heating up the metal. But the heat from the glass transfers very slowly through the stainless steel the pipe is made out of. As it's transferring through that metal, it's also radiating out into the air around it. The heat from the glass never really creeps further back than about the first foot, where you can see these pipes get darker in color. Now, this dark portion of the pipe, that's what us glass blowers call the no-touch zone. And of course, throughout our careers, all of us make some contact with that portion of the pipe, which works to reinforce the fact that it is the no-touch zone. Sure, you can imagine there's a pretty short learning curve on that. He's going to start to actually blow into this glass to inflate it to its final shape. And the first thing that he's going to want to do as he does that is shape the tip of the bubble on this marker table. Now you can see how contact with this steel table affects the shape of the glass. But what you can't see is this contact also cools the glass substantially. So he's cooling the tip while leaving the part closer to the pipe slightly hotter. This means when he blows into the pipe, it's the part closest to the pipe that will expand the most. Now this is the part of the bubble that we refer to as the shoulder, kind of in between the equator and the blowpipe. And you can see that shoulder starting to expand as he blows into that pipe. Alright. Now that he's inflated that glass a bit, he's going to get a little bit more heat into the material, and then he's going to start to use these tools known as jacks next. Now I'm just going to preheat those jacks just a little bit for him. Now these jacks are basically just twin steel blades that face each other. And as he squeezes them together around this glass, they're going to carve a crease into the surface of it. Now this crease, or jack line that he's making, is located right at the end of the blowpipe, in between the pipe and the majority of this bubble. And it's going to be the spot where the bubble separates from the pipe when it's time to do that. Alright, huh? All of this glass artists learn a variety of maneuvers to shield each other from that heat. Huh? Now you can see we've gotten quite ahead to heat up the material to the point that it softens. Then he'll begin to use gravity and centrifugal force to stretch that glass. You can see as he swings that pipe end over end, it stretches that form. Alright. Now pretty much the entire time we've been shaping this bubble, we've been keeping it roughly round. At this point we're ready to take it out of the round. So I'm going to go ahead and take the pipe and get this glass nice and hot. Then I'll bring it over to Jeremiah where he's going to use these corkwood paddles to squeeze the... Alright, so you can see we just flattened this bubble out a little bit. Now, Jeremiah wants to make a hole in the bottom of this bubble. He's going to make a hole using this tungsten pick. Basically, he'll preheat that tungsten steel so it glows cherry red. Then he'll be able to just press it right through the tip of this bubble, creating a nice little hole right there in the glass. Alrighty, just like that. We just made that little opening. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to take another blowpipe, configure a little bit of glass on the tip of it, and then we're going to connect that blowpipe to this little opening that we just made. Then we'll break this bubble off of the first blowpipe, transferring it over to the second one. Now I'm going to go ahead and start to prepare this second blowpipe with a little bit of glass. Now we want to be able to blow through this blowpipe to inflate that bubble. So I've got to make an opening in this glass here. To do that, I'll blow a very thin bubble in that glass. Then I'll put the thin bubble into this reheating furnace, and that thin bubble will burst. And this will leave a passage all the way through the tip of that glass. Now I want to shape this glass up real quickly into a shape that we call an open-ended collar. And this will be just a little bit of glass right around the tip of the pipe. And it'll kind of function as glue as we stick this pipe onto that bubble. Alright. I've got this open-ended collar all set up. Jeremiah's been maintaining a base temperature in his glass this whole time. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this collar over to Jeremiah, where he'll take control of it with these shears and guide it as we stick it onto this piece. And he'll check it to make sure that pipe is centered. And when he's satisfied with that, he's going to start creating stress at the jack line by dropping some cold water on the glass there with these tweezers. That cold water will thermally shock our glass, getting it ready to break. Then all it takes is a tap on the pipe, and the glass will fracture there. Glass, and he's going to start to reheat the place where it broke away from the first blowpipe. Now you guys may have been able to see where it broke away, it left a little opening in the tip of the bubble. We want to soften up the glass there, right around the opening, and start to stretch it open a little further. As glass blowers, we're aware that we can never let that glass cool below 900 degrees too quickly. If it ever cools too quickly below that point, it'll start to develop stress and spontaneously break. So Jeremiah was just maintaining that base temperature in all parts, while he got that lip up around 2,000 degrees, so he could start to reshape it. And you can see he's stretched that opening open quite a bit. And he's going to take this newspaper pad and flatten it out. Now Jeremiah is getting ready to add this sheet of cane that we had made at the beginning onto this piece here. So he's just getting this into roughly the right shape to add that cane onto it. Alright, cool. Now, once they're hot... Alright, now Jeremiah's got some heat into this glass, so he'll go ahead and start trimming some of that cane away. Film dust that may have gotten stuck on that glass while it was sitting on. I'm just going to sneak over here and kind of shield his hand from the heat coming off that glass once again. Just trying to get this wooden paddle in between all that hot glass and his bare skin. As you can see, he's nicely trimmed that cane to the same diameter as that opening. All right. See, Jeremiah's still just working on fine-tuning this shape a little bit. All right. And at this point, he's pretty satisfied with this shape that he's got. So we're going to work on getting ready to finish this piece off. Now, in order to finish this piece off, we're going to have to break it off the end of that blowpipe that it's on now and put it away into our annealing oven over here, where it's going to cool down slowly to room temperature over 14 hours tonight. Now, this slow cool down will remove stress from the glass, just ensuring that it comes out in one piece tomorrow. As I mentioned earlier, if we allow it to cool too quickly, it'll literally shatter into hundreds of pieces. And Jeremiah is going to start to put water on the connection area in between that pipe and the piece. As cold water will thermally shock that glass, stressing it out. Once it's stressed out enough, he'll tap the pipe, and I'll catch the glass in these heavy-duty Kevlar gloves and move it over into our annealing oven. You guys get another look at that piece as it goes away into the box. All right, we got a good one into the box.